TikTok documentary, how it started and how it gained popularity and controversies related to it. TikTok will be banned in USA from January. How did a simple app for sharing short videos become a global sensation, captivating millions and sparking heated debates? From its meteoric rise to becoming a cultural phenomenon to the controversies that now threaten its future, TikTok's story is as dramatic as its viral trends. But with the US poised to ban it starting this January, what led to this turning point? The House of Representatives passed a bill urging the Chinese app maker ByteDance to either divest from the company or be removed from US app stores, bringing the US one step closer to outlawing TikTok. With 352 votes in favor and only 65 votes against, the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act was passed with resounding bipartisan support. According to numerous House lawmakers, the app might provide the Chinese government access to user information and enable it to sway Americans by using the highly addictive algorithm of the widely used social media site. The White House has supported the plan, and President Joe Biden has stated that if it passes Congress, he will sign it. However, the White House and lawmakers disagree with civil liberties and digital rights organizations that argue a ban would violate free expression, as well as with many of TikTok's 170 million US users, who make up around half of the nation. The law still has to pass the US Senate, which is the highest body in the US Congress, and there are still many obstacles in the way. Legislators from both sides of the aisle will examine the bill again, and it may be challenged by other ban versions. Why is ByteDance's divestment from TikTok desired by the US? What is said by TikTok? TikTok has refuted the accusations made against it, but it hasn't had much success persuading US lawmakers. Many people thought CEO Chu's appearance before Congress last year was disastrous since he did not allay worries about Chinese influence over the program. The Chinese government controls one of the 3 board members of Beijing-based ByteDance and owns 1% of the company. However, detractors claim that lawmakers' grandstanding contributed to the hearing's failure. In one noteworthy instance, Singaporean and military reservist Chu was interrogated over whether he backs the Chinese Communist Party in scenes reminiscent of the 1950s U.S. Red Scare. Will the bill pass become law? Despite a competing version from Senate Democrats that is presently stalled in committee, U.S. President Joe Biden has stated that he would back a TikTok divestment measure. While the House's Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act originates with the White House, the Senate's Restrict Act gives the Department of Commerce the authority to take direct action to prohibit apps that are under the control of foreign adversaries. Although the House version is now in the lead, it still needs Senate approval and President Biden's signature before it can become law. A bill that could outlaw TikTok is passed by the U.S. House of Representatives. This image shows the U.S. House of Representatives floor following the House's resounding passage of a bill that would require ByteDance, the Chinese company that owns TikTok, to sell off its U.S. holdings or risk being banned. Ordinarily, this would be a difficult assignment, but in 2024, the United States is holding elections, and 34 of the 100 Senate seats, the entire House of Representatives, and the presidency are all up for grabs. Progress might be postponed until after the vote in November. Any ban may also be contested by ByteDance in U.S. courts. Following the bill's passing in the House, Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer issued a brief statement stating that the Senate will review the legislation when it comes over from the House. However, the bill's supporters and detractors do not align with political parties. Ranking Republican senators such as Rubio support a ban on TikTok, but another Republican, Senator Rand Paul, has pledged to veto the bill because he believes it is illegal. Additionally, Republican Senator Kevin Cramer of North Dakota, a conservative state, advised U.S. reporters not to hold their breath until the bill passes the Senate. I find it difficult to believe that it will happen so quickly. We don't work quickly. The U.S. news outlet CBS News cited him as saying, "I would think months, because we're not designed to do things fast." The Republican presidential contender, former U.S. President Donald Trump, has likewise altered his TikTok stance. Changing sides 4 years after his administration's 2020 attempt to outlaw the app could help Trump win over younger voters in November. TikTok usage restrictions have been implemented independently by the U.S. federal government and a number of states. Although a legal fight is ongoing, Montana became the first state in the U.S. to officially ban the app last year. At a press conference, Chinese Ministry of Commerce spokesman He Yadong urged Washington to stop unjustly suppressing foreign companies and stated that the U.S. should truly respect the principles of a market economy and fair competition. China will resolutely protect its legitimate rights and interests by taking all necessary measures, he declared. Should we be concerned about TikTok? After conducting a thorough investigation of TikTok and its Chinese sibling Douyin in 2021, the University of Toronto's Citizen Lab concluded that the evidence is inconclusive about whether TikTok employs political censorship of user posts and that neither platform appears to exhibit overtly malicious behavior similar to those exhibited by malware. In addition to restrictions for content labeled hate speech, suicide prevention, and sensitive, author Pelion Lin claimed that Douyin and TikTok also seem to use the same source code that was later modified for each market. Additionally, some political terms were blocked on Douyin, but not on TikTok. We noticed that various server return configuration values could activate or deactivate some of these customizations. Although we were unable to verify it, we are worried that this capacity could be utilized to activate concealed features that violate privacy, Lin stated. Because of its addictive qualities, TikTok has also sparked worries about its possible harm to kids. However, others opposed to a ban argue that this is also true of other social networking sites, such as Instagram. Who is against the ban on TikTok? Many TikTok users, especially content creators who have made several hundred to thousands of US dollars a month from their videos, are against the measure. Additionally, it has been examined by U.S. civil and digital rights organizations such as the Electronic Frontier Foundation and the American Civil Liberties Union, because it would restrict the public's access to a vital source of information and stifle free expression. Banning TikTok would be a violation of the First Amendment, whether directly or indirectly. According to Ashley Gorski, senior staff attorney with the ACLU's National Security Project, the government cannot impose this type of total ban unless it is the only way to prevent extremely serious and immediate harm to national security, she told Al Jazeera. Public evidence of that kind of harm does not exist. A complete ban on TikTok wouldn't be the only solution, even if there were, she added. Gorski claimed that a single federal data privacy regulation, which the U.S. does not yet have in contrast to the EU, would allay many worries about safeguarding U.S. user data. TikTok functions similarly to X, the program that was once known as Twitter, and Facebook and Instagram, which are owned by Meta, according to several observers. They claim that banning TikTok alone would be hypocritical, given that all of these businesses are implementing dubious rules, even though it's not exactly a high standard, considering that the EU fined Meta $1.3 billion for breaking privacy laws last year. Has TikTok been limited or outlawed in other countries? Outside of the US, TikTok is being closely examined. TikTok has been prohibited in both India and Nepal. The prohibition in India is a result of the current geopolitical tensions between Beijing and New Delhi. The app is prohibited on government phones in a number of countries, including Afghanistan, Australia, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Taiwan, the UK, and EU governing agencies. Additionally, Pakistan and Indonesia have debated whether and to what extent to impose restrictions on TikTok access. The next big test for TikTok may come from the EU, which has a history of controlling Silicon Valley internet titans over alleged overreach. The EU launched an official inquiry into TikTok in February with a focus on advertising, content, and the app's influence on children. The EU has already fined the firm $370 million for violating privacy. If you enjoyed this video and want to dive deeper into more fascinating stories like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out.